right, another game, week 10, or game 10 for the Colorado Buffaloes. And Adam, the final home game of the season, they got Arizona. And Arizona that is now number 23 Arizona. This is not like hapless Arizona that we've seen in recent past. And obviously the Buffs have been hapless as well. But Arizona has turned things around, obviously, under Jed Fish. And kind of the trajectory that Colorado would like to be on, over time, right? I mean, Arizona was 1-11 a couple years ago, 5-7 last year, and now they're bowl eligible for the first time. I think since 2017. The Buffs seem like they may be on that same trajectory because they were 1-11 last year. Hope to get to 6-6, but Arizona, give them credit because they've really built things up behind Jed Fish.
Yeah, they were in a pretty similar spot to what Colorado was when Coach Prime took over, when Jed Fish took over that job. And I remember early in his tenure during a preseason camp spending some time praising what he was doing down in his first year at Arizona. And first off, he opened things up and he was very fan friendly and said, we want to welcome everybody back and really brought a lot of pride back to Arizona football. And that's a tough job because in Tucson, Arizona basketball is king. So to do what he's done in 3 years is really impressive. And yeah, they were as bad as Colorado was in 2022 back late when he took over. And there was, Kevin Sumlin had basically given up coaching that team, and then they had the whole Rich Rod saga at the end. So there was a lot that had gone wrong there. And he came in and turned things around. And we talk about how Colorado's really struggling to play complementary football. That's what's so impressive about this Arizona team. It's not one guy. They run about 50% of the time. They pass about 50% of the time. Both are pretty efficient, not the best in the Pac-12. Defensively, they're giving up less than 20 points a game.
Right. And
they have one of the best kickers in the country. So he's really built up a solid program overall, and the guy that everybody expected to be their starting quarterback and star, Jaden DeLora, gets replaced by a second-year freshman, and he's been really impressive. So it's been great to see that from a program that suffered a lot like the Buffs did for a long time.
Yeah, I think the most impressive thing to me is that defense because for so long you could just kind of count on, well, Arizona's defense was not very good. You're going to score points on them, and then you just hope to keep their offense down. Well, their defense, to your point, is pretty good. It's under 20 points a game. I don't know where it ranks in the Pac-12. I know that last year that would have led the Pac-12. So, under 20 points a game, this team usually gives up 30, 35, 40 points a game. And so what they're doing defensively is impressive. And they got a guy on that defense that was here in the spring and didn't work out here. And when he left here, Taylor Upshaw, and went to Arizona, he circled this game. And he actually tweeted out there, back then, he knew the date. He knew when it was. So he gets to come back to Folsom, and we'll see what he does. But that defense has been impressive.
Yeah, Taylor Upshaw ranks third in the Pac-12 in sacks right now. And it does make you, as a Colorado fan, sit back there and go, gosh, if they had him and Dominic on the edge, man, that would be quite the duo. And those guys actually committed to CU back, remember, during the winter recruiting period on the same weekend. So unfortunate it didn't work out here, and he's having a lot of success down there. I was interested to see Jason Harris was one of Colorado's top-ranked signees in the 2020 class, that Mel Tucker class that he bolted on. And he's out of the program down there at Arizona, so he hasn't made a big impact. And then Montana Lamonius Craig on the other side of the ball. So even though Jason Harris isn't still there, we've got a couple familiar faces down there. But 57 players in the Pac-12 have more receiving yards than Montana Lamonius Craig right now. So he hasn't maybe had the impact down there that he was hoping for. And part of that is that they've got some other talented pass catchers.
Well, the last time Montana Lamonius Craig was back here behind us was pretty darn good at that spring game. And so he's going to want to be doing the same thing. I'll be curious to see if Arizona intentionally gets him involved because it's at Colorado. But Noah Fifita, their quarterback, has been really good lately. The Freshman of the Year award, I think, is probably sealed up, with him. I mean, he's won the Player of the Week or the Freshman of the Week award, I think, 4 of the last 5 weeks, and might as well rename that award after him because it's the last year of the Pac-12. Might as well just rename it the Noah Fifita Award. But yeah, he's been pretty impressive.
And he was very lightly recruited coming out of Servite High School in Anaheim, partly because he's only about 5'11". I think that's what they listed him at. Cal was his only other Power 5 offer, so that was a heck of a find by Jed Fish and his staff. And you don't expect to see a second-year freshman, have 14 touchdowns and just 4 picks and have one of the best completion percentages in the entire country. And he hasn't played the full season, but when he's been out there since taking over, he's been really impressive.
Yeah, and this Arizona team, 5 straight weeks they played ranked opponents, and they've won the last 3. The first 2, they only lost to Washington by a touchdown. They should have beat USC, but lost to them in triple overtime. And then 3 straight, for the first time in program history, 3 straight wins against top 25 teams. This maybe a letdown for them. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if Arizona's at that point yet where they can just overlook anybody or have a letdown. But after 5 straight emotional weeks, I wonder if this is going to be somewhat of a letdown for them. Because can you keep it up for 6 straight weeks? I don't know. They did it for 5.
They did it for 5. And yeah, I said earlier in the week, I picked Colorado to go 6-6 this season. I'd really like to stick with that prediction and have it come true. And they kind of need to win this game for that to come true. But like you said, their 3 losses have been impressive losses, and they've won the other 6 games. So, I can't doubt what they've done in year 3 under Jed Fish so far. And we got to see Colorado's offense put it back together. And Shador's banged up, and it's tough going right now for that offensive unit. It's going to be senior day with, like I said, about 11 guys that this will be their last home game, sellout crowd, noon kickoff. It should be a fun environment here. So I expect a very competitive football game, but I'm going to go with Arizona eking this one out 30-27.
Okay. I'm going to stick with you, Arizona, hitting the 30 points, but I'm actually going to go with Buffs. 3rd straight week, I'm going to go Buffs, and I kind of felt it with UCLA. I think it was more on kind of belief last week against Oregon State, not so much feeling it, but I really feel it this week. I feel like this is going to be a bounce back week for this program, and I think that, I don't know, the way they finished that game offensively against Oregon State, maybe there's something there. I think the defense has played solid. I think they win this thing 38-30 and get that 5th win, which gives them a shot going into Pullman next week for that bowl game. And you and I both picked 6-6 this year, so I want to stick with it. I know you want to stick with it until the bitter end. And so, but in order to do that, they have to get this one.
Well, I will say one thing. It seems like Travis Hunter is back. It felt like last game he was about 95% of the Travis Hunter we expect, and I would expect to see 100% out of Travis Hunter this week. And I felt going into the season, there's been moments where it's been really, really impressive what he's done, and the play count, the snaps he's played, it's really, really impressive. But he's so unbelievably gifted. I could just see a crazy performance out of him, and maybe that comes Saturday.
Well, they need it. And, the Buffs have not done great in those 8 p.m. kickoffs at home. This is a noon one. And Buff fans, you're excited. You finally get a normal kickoff time. So we'll be here on Saturday to talk about it afterwards.